treat. I tried to put an interview together with Cheds a few years ago. We crossed wires and I reached out to him, and I'm really excited to talk to this trader and talk to him about his journey. Welcome to TGH, Cheds.
Thank you, Coach. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah.
Just very generous offer, and I'm just honored to be here. So thank you.
All right. Well, let's start with the obvious. Why the handle? Why Cheds?
So back when I was in my like early 20s, I was the only friend who had a job. Like in my whole crew, I was the only guy. So like if we went out, I paid for it.
Okay.
And I just became Cheds. And then it also became a nickname because I'm kind of a goof. So, oh, look at Cheds doing Cheds things. So it's a little bit of a double entendre, but that's how it
Okay.
started.
All right. Well, thanks for clearing that up. So,
Yeah.
I don't know how long you've been in the business, but the evolution and the broken road, God bless the broken road that led us straight to here.
Yes, sir.
People are interested because there are people just starting out. And you and I had advantages that they didn't have in the old days. And I'm
Yeah.
curious, like, what was your first gig in the industry? What attracted you to the markets?
Well, it's a great question, and thank you for the opportunity. I always wanted to trade stocks like as a kid, just growing up as a boy, I didn't want, a traditional job. And of course, I thought it would be easy, when I first started. And I had a book I saw and it had like, green arrow signs pointing up and like, oh, this is it. This is the way to the future. And, I dabbled around and ended up losing everything, of course, because I didn't know what I was doing. I mean, that happened several times, for sure. And then I took a break from it, and I started doing poker as a hobby too. And I had jobs along the way, but for hobbies, I played poker, and I learned about risk management. I learned about kind of picking your spots, which
Yeah,
is really important. There's a style in poker called tight aggressive, which essentially means you don't play a lot of hands, but when you play them, you really go for it. And I'm kind of that way with trading. So the skills I learned in poker kind of encouraged me to get back into trading. And so I started trading big board stuff. And I learned that I needed more than just wanting to succeed. I needed to add skills. So I started
yeah.
with like Japanese candlestick theory.
Oh,
I started reading a couple textbooks. And what I learned is there's a psychology of the market expressed in the candlestick. There's a
yeah,
story of buyers and sellers. There's a battle that took place. There's a momentum story, which is so important. And from there to now, everything is momentum story. I think about it that way. So I used candlestick theory. That was good, but I needed more. I emptied out a few more, trading accounts. I took, some breaks. I did my soul searching, which I think we all have to. Um, and eventually I got back into it more and I started doing penny stocks too. This is like 2013, 2014 when I really started to get more serious about the craft. When I started reading, classical charting textbooks in addition to Japanese candlestick theory.
Edwards and McGee.
Edwards and McGee and
Okay,
Shawbacker. I like the Shawbacker more,
okay.
but Edwards and McGee for sure.
And Nissan is the author of
Yes, Steve
where you
Niss.
learn. Okay,
Yes, he's got the yellow book, which he's got
right.
the yellow book, the red book, and he's got his courses and all that.
Yeah,
And so I just found that having the ability to understand the momentum story gave me what I needed, to practice and have some confidence to continue to improve. And I kind of fell in love with penny stocks, Dale, the volatility, of the pot stock boom back in, 13, 14. And
yeah.
I kind of cut my teeth in these low volatility, these wild markets, and it was really interesting. And I was doing that, while I was in social media, and I started my X account in 2014, putting out chart ideas, and I was the
Yeah,
candlestick guy doing penny stocks, and
yeah.
I kind of
Interesting.
learned that if I wanted to get good, I'd have to teach, and it's that second level. And I found that I enjoyed teaching, I enjoyed interacting, and I kind of built a
Why
following that
does
way.
teaching make you better, Cheds? I agree
Yeah,
with you. I'm
yeah,
interested in your answer. Is
yeah.
it the accountability that you
Hmm.
only put out your best stuff, which is,
Yeah,
you're careful about what you teach, as careful about that
yeah.
as when, and what you trade.
The accountability is important. You want to be accountable to yourself and other people, but I find that to teach something, you have to stop and think, do I really understand this? I mean, to verbalize something is a process. You can think you
Right.
know something, you can feel it, but to verbalize it, you have to stop, you have to put it into words. And then when you say those words, you say, wait a minute, did that make sense? Whatever I just said to this person. So you have to master something to teach it. Like right now, I'm studying for CMT2. I did the CMT1. I'll get to that in a second, but I'm studying for CMT2 course. And I stopped and I said, you know what? I want to learn everything in this textbook. So I've been creating like an educational series in my YouTube channel, 3-minute videos in every concept in the book. And I said, once I can do that, then I'll really understand it. Then I can take the test. You know, you have to master something to be able to teach it. And you have to, and you can't learn it without teaching it. You can think you understand it, but you know, um, if you have a good trading idea, Dale, can you convince your buddy it's a good trading idea? And how can you explain it? How can you verbalize it? So it's that process of
Yeah.
challenging you. You think you know something, and the teaching is a great way to take it to the next level. So
Okay.
that's my philosophy there.
I've had people I've mentored outperform me. They're better with my stuff than I am
Oh yeah.
because they have different paradigms. I had a paradigm of being raised by a single mother. Here's Ched's YouTube channel.
Thank you.
And there was never enough money around to raise 3 kids on her own. So I
Mm,
learned scarcity. So one of the things I'd overcome was being able to risk my profits.
mm,
Okay, because when it was there, I would take it and just learn to not be all in,
yeah.
to piece in and to piece out. And that took care of it and use a trailing stop. And just
Mm,
had one tip you learn from your students too. Someone once told me,
mm,
Dale, if you're considering liquidating, look at the chart and ask yourself, would you reverse your position here? And if
mm.
the answer is no, you walk away.
There's a lot of
So,
tough questions, right? You have
yeah,
to ask yourself those tough questions.
yeah,
And, I think you make a great point about the students, and I love when they do better
yeah,
than me. And I'm not trying to be the best trader. I'm trying to be my best trader, me, the best, version of myself, and understanding that that's all I can do. And the human emotions of jealousy, and when you see other people outperforming you, I mean, you got to let it go. That's their ride. At the end of the day, it's just you. You have to follow your path and to kind of pick up on that thread. So I was doing the penny stock stuff, and then around early 2017, I saw Bitcoin, this Bitcoin stuff. I'd heard about it, but I didn't really know, what was the deal. And so I put out a couple charts on Twitter, and all of a sudden,
yeah.
retweet, like, comment. And I was like, this is cool. And I started to really get into crypto, and I realized that the skills I had learned in penny stocks and trading big board stuff was applicable to
Yeah.
crypto. And this is right around the time I was diagnosed with cancer as well in 2017. And so, it's a tough spot, obviously, in my life. But being a crypto guy and leaning into that gave me just a great distraction while I was going through chemotherapy and radiation. Just to be this crypto guy, to have value to other people. It gave me some purpose. It gave me just something to get out of bed if I could get out of bed that day. And I've been at it, since then in crypto. I think that's where most people know me from. I
Right.
published, a few books, but that came after, becoming a crypto guy and being known as a chart teacher, a newbie helper, an academic chart nerd for crypto. And so that was the major origin story. And since then, I've just been blessed with opportunities and then meeting a lot of people who've continued to teach me and I've continued to learn from.
Okay, I wasn't going to bring that up, and
Hmm.
Chad has written a book about his battle with cancer. I was going to leave that to the end of the show, but
Hmm.
we share that in common.
Oh.
I too survived colon rectal cancer,
Mm.
about 11 years ago.
Mm.
I'm curious because I know it had an impact on me
Yeah.
and a lot of the way I look at life. Did it have any impact on how you looked at markets, taking losses?
Mm.
Did it make it more significant or less significant? What kind of emotional and mental changes occurred after you faced the biggest stop out?
Mm.
that any human faces, how did it affect you?
I mean, it's a great question, and I could go a lot of different ways. The one thing I try to remind myself is that, it's just a gift to still be here. So I try to be
Yeah,
really
got it.
not get too caught up, and I'm human like everyone else. Try to get not too caught up in the arguments and the little debates and the little things, and try to just really appreciate that it's a gift to be here, how far I've come. In terms of like applying it to markets, I want to continue to make a difference. I want to continue to impact the world, and not just be a blip rather on the radar. I mean, I want to do what I can do while I'm here, knowing that
Yeah.
at any minute I could find another tumor. At any minute I could be another growth, and it could be another, oh shit moment in my life. And so I try to, manifest, think positively. I respect myself, take care of myself, love myself, because the world will beat you down.
How
And
about how about losses? That's what
yeah.
changed for me.
Hmm.
Were losses, which I used to take hard.
Yes.
Okay,
Hmm.
and and ruminate about them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Besides trying to
Yeah.
see what I did,
Hmm.
but I would say that after that experience, it put everything in perspective
Yeah.
about loss and loss of money
Yes.
lost its importance to me compared to prior to going through that experience. Loss of people I love or dogs or
Yes.
things like
Yes.
that didn't change. Maybe that intensified.
S-
But as far as risk, didn't mean
mhm,
that I didn't care about risk,
mhm.
but I didn't react to drawdowns the way I did before that happened to me.
So I'd like to say that I'm over loss. I'd like to say that it doesn't affect me. It still does for sure, but I will say that I've learned that I hate losing money. So what I do is I'll take a loss quickly if possible.
Yeah,
I'll respect the idea that a great trading idea, if it fails, okay, it's failed. It's not a great trading idea anymore. You just got to
right.
respect when your thesis fails. You have to respect your money. And I still the big losses will make me take a break. And I've learned that I am an emotional creature and I have to respect that. Give myself time to clear my head and come back. So I take breaks after losses. I take big
Okay.
breaks if I zero out a trading account. I'll just take a few months. I'll go read a textbook and come back. I got to do something, right?
Yeah.
But in terms of the cancer and money, for sure, it's made money secondary, but we still got to pay our bills. We have family, we have taxes, all that good stuff. But I just be careful with what I do. I'm very careful about everything now, and I'm just again thankful. I just circle back to being thankful and grateful and wanting to add value, to
And
this
you
community.
have, and the people that you've been teaching and sharing ideas with and interacting with, they're thankful too
Thank you.
that you're here, Cheds, and they'll even be more thankful if you could tell me the exact low in Bitcoin before the big melt up.
I think it's going to bottom between 35 and 45K later this year.
Wow, a pretty ambitious downside target.
Yeah.
How are people handling this, the hodlers? Do you sense that there's panic?
The
Or
people who, mhm.
go ahead.
Well, the people who hold and believe don't care, because they're just buying $50 a week, $100 a week. They're dollar cost
Yeah,
averaging, and they're not going to try to time it.
right.
The people who really want to turn a dollar into a dollar 15,
Yeah,
they want to know what's happening tomorrow or next week. And the thing though about my community is it used to be really just Bitcoin, and now it's just meme coins and these derivatives of Bitcoin. There's very few people. The joke is that in my community, very few people actually own Bitcoin, right? They
right.
want to buy the next Bitcoin to the next Bitcoin that's going to 100x or even 3, 4, 5x. And so the people who are Bitcoiners, they're going to continue to hold on to Bitcoin. They necessarily don't care that much, but they also don't want to see, a 50%, 60, 70% drawdown. So You know, it just depends where you are in that category of whether you're just a hardcore believer or you're just buying for the future. Because I do think in a few years it will be higher no matter what. Um, you know, so if you're in that boat and you don't need the money right now, then just wait, let it bottom out, let it consolidate. You need to consolidate. There's a momentum story. You have to shake out short-term speculators. You have to rebalance the supply and demand. And if we want, you know, the Bitcoin community, if we want to see it to go to 500K, it has to
Yeah,
have a haircut
rest.
first. It's got to rest,
Well,
and
they've
that's it.
repealed that law in the SPOOs,
Mm,
haven't they?
I'm not.
When do you think the S&Ps are going to take a healthy rest?
Okay, I don't know. Let's take a look. Let me
All
just
right.
take a quick peek.
And is this where you teach? You do a lot of your teaching, Cheds,
So
on
Bitcoin Live.
okay, and you have some great company like Peter Brandt.
Yeah, I mean the
You
best.
can't top that.
You can't top Peter's a real gentleman.
Yeah,
I've been doing Bitcoin Live since 2018. And I do a twice a week full market report there every Wednesday, Sunday night, and I haven't skipped in like 7 years. And what's
that's
great about
great.
Bitcoin Live is that the rest of the team is like better than me, I think. It's just, I mean, they're like multi-decade veterans and with different styles. And we don't get
Yeah,
together and decide like, hey, are we bullish? Are we bearish? I have no idea what they're talking about. And because I want to trust my own muscle memory. So I
yeah.
come in and give my perspective. So I teach there for sure, but I still live stream on YouTube, you know, every
Okay,
week or so. You know, I really love teaching, so I have the educational videos, you know, and I put up my tweets and all that. But
I
Bitcoin
saw
Live is a
them.
full member reports it's crypto focused there.
Okay,
Uh,
all right. So
Um,
a lot of
mhm.
different ways that people could that's are seeing you for the first time can follow your work and get involved with you.
Yeah, absolutely. I try to be accessible. I love interacting with people. And you know, my books, I make them all free on my YouTube channel. So like the cancer memoir, I wrote the book, but then I recorded me narrating the whole book. It's on my YouTube, you know, channel and trading wisdom and my newest book, the trading journal. I'm making it free. So it's all on my YouTube, you know.
I have a new trading quote that you could use if you ever do another edition.
Okay.
Keep an open mind. It will keep your account open.
Mm, mm. Oh man, it's like you know what's funny, Dale? When I published the book, and then after I published it, I was like, man, I had new quotes I wanted to put back in. You know,
Yeah.
there's a quote from a gentleman on Twitter, Sunrise Trader.
Oh yeah, know
He's
him.
great. He
Yeah.
says, I'd rather wish I was in a trade than wish I was out of a trade. And
Okay.
I'm like, man, that's so true. It's
Yeah.
so true, right? Like it's
Yeah.
okay to, oh, I wish I was in this, but if you're stuck, you know, it owns you. You're losing your sleep, you know. It's like, and that hit me. It was so profound. I was like, man, I wish I'd come up with that one, Sunrise. I would have put it, you know, I would have put it in my book. But I love quotes because they help summarize the emotional aspect of trading. You know, like if your blood runs hot, your trades will run cold or something like that. My brain's not working today, but you can't just come in and be a machine. You're a human, so you got to watch your
Yeah.
emotions. You got to be mindful,
Oh,
and that's going to help you out in the long run.
okay. So if you're ready to share, and
Sure.
we could
All right.
talk a
Let's
little
see.
bit about Bitcoin and other things that have captured your attention here lately in the markets. And
Okay.
brand new year 2026, we're going to kill it
We
this year,
are.
Jets.
Oh, it's going to be beautiful, brother. And by the way, I want to say congratulations on beating cancer. That's the cancer that took my mom's life, CRC. So, um, great,
Yeah.
you know,
So
great.
I had the gene too for what
Okay.
the kind of cancer I had.
Yes.
I had a brother and a sister also have it.
Hmm.
So, a lot of it's genetics,
It really is.
isn't it? Yeah,
It
that's
really
what I
is.
learned.
They're
It's,
doing crazy stuff with genetics too. I mean, something called epigenetics. There's all sorts of really interesting stuff. Can't speak too much authority in that, but there's interesting stuff going on. So you've been looking at Bitcoin here. I mean, I'm looking
yeah,
at the weekly chart, and I think there's a couple things, you know, that you want to keep in mind that the longer the time frame, obviously, the stronger the trend. So, you know, Dale, you can go to a 5 minute chart and find anything you want. And
yes,
you know, but even if you're on the 5 minute, you have to know what the 1 hour, you know, the 4 hour daily and weekly are doing. And I like the weekly for me is the highest time frame because it has this blue line, which is the MA200. In classical charting, it's the trend.
Yeah.
So it's essentially the average of the last 200 closes, and it's
Right.
equally weighted, which makes it, a simple moving average. If you go to like a monthly, there's no MA200. So for me, it's not that mature an asset yet. So I'm just saying, I like to start out with the weekly. We have the uptrend, the price above the rising,
Yeah.
MA200, but the trend's damaged in
Yeah.
my view, right? The trend is damaged for a couple major reasons. We've started to lose this orange line, which is the SMA 50, or the equally weighted 50 period moving average.
Okay.
If we look back at what happened in 2021, now we talked about you talked about it like pausing and cooling off. You had a move and a digestion, you had a move and a digestion. And rather than continuing in
Yeah.
what I thought would have been an ascending triangle, which is a bullish continuation pattern, it started to
Right.
lose the MA50.
Yeah.
And the price came and did kind of an underside test. So essentially what was support,
Yeah.
became resistance.
Exactly.
And so we're looking at similar behavior here where we're looking at a damaged trend on Bitcoin. So here we started to lose the weekly MA50. But in addition, we have something that's called a failed throwback. So in classical charting, you talk about the principle of polarity where you have a level that is established as resistance. If you break out, it should be support on the way back. And if you come back below, you fail, that's an up thrust, it's a failed breakout. What happened here, we not only lost the MA50, we had a failed throwback to this price structure here. This was a very nice continuation, head and shoulders. You don't have to call it. People get, by the way, you don't have to worry too much about a name of a pattern. You want to look at the structure, and what is the most obvious is the peak of the structure. So we have this peak of the structure, and we did not hold on the retest. So it
Yeah.
really should have held, and we lost the MA50. So we have a pretty big breakdown on the weekly picture.
Can I
Correspond,
ask you about
yeah,
when it
yeah,
comes to
yeah.
markets breaking down old support? Do you believe,
Okay.
say, you have a level
Mm-hmm.
and a resistance level, and we break out above it,
Yep.
and then we come back and test it, and then it goes, that's okay to me.
Mm-hmm.
But if we have a level and it's a breakout,
Mm-hmm.
and then we have several retests, that the market is giving people the opportunity. It's saying, Mr. Market's saying, I know you missed a breakout a week ago,
Yeah.
but you're such a nice guy. I'm going to let you buy it at the breakout because I
Yeah.
know you needed a week to
Sure.
think about it. So do you become jaded, skeptical the
Yeah.
more an area is tested?
Well, definitely. I mean, and it's not that, first of all, these aren't my theories. I'm really just speaking the textbook, but you want to
Right.
keep a couple of things in mind. Like the more a level's tested, the more likely it is to break. Okay,
Okay.
number one, the
Yeah.
more times you test a level, the more important it is. So the break at that
Yeah.
level has more significance. If you think about how things perform, you think about like gaps in traditional markets. You close here and say you gap up here.
Yeah.
So let's say the breakout level is here, and so it's like a breakaway gap.
Right.
So you may say I want it to come back and test the breakout level, fill the gap, but this run will perform much worse than a trade that just breaks out and does not fill the gap
Yeah.
and continues. So it's just a momentum story. So yeah, I would love it to come, and
Back
throw
to
and throw
100.
back, yeah, to
Back.
100, whatever or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm saying like whatever the
Yeah.
level is.
Right.
You want it to give you another test, but really the best momentums will maybe give you one or zero retests and will just
Right.
continue and give you, there's all these gradations of momentum. If
Well,
you think of,
you read Edwards and McGee. If it
Mhm.
gaps and goes, it's a breakaway gap.
If it gaps and goes, it's a breakaway gap. I
Shouldn't be
also did
closed.
CMT. I also did the CMT, which I really recommend to
Okay.
anybody. And
Okay.
that, for me, the thing with CMT is everyone I had their own opinion and stuff on Twitter, and I wanted to know what was right and what was wrong. So
Yeah.
I did CMT, and it really told me what professional TA was, and that's really helped me inform how I trade and how I teach. And it's the McGee stuff, and it's Nissen, and it's all of the above. I really recommend CMT. Um, but there's just gradations of momentum. If you think about even,
Maybe we
Mhm.
get a right shoulder here, Cheds. What do you think?
Okay, yeah. So here's the debate. So a lot of people are thinking, Dale, about a right shoulder, right? A right shoulder, and then okay, right shoulder. Where's your neck baseline?
Yeah.
Um, Let me zoom in a little bit and we'll just kind of dissect this a little bit more. And I'm going to go to the daily chart and just to get a little more flavor here. So we talked about the failed hold which is right around 107.5, which is re-entering the price range.
Right.
You also have the inability to hold here right around 100K or 99K.
Right.
So a lot of people are expecting a bounce and a rejection or a bounce and a rejection. Really, the debate is between a lot of people is how much of a pushback up do we get before we roll over? That's a debate, at least in my community. I'm not sure we're even going to get that. But if we do, there is a local trade here. If you look at the structure, I'm gonna zoom in a little bit more, right? So even though I think it's going, much lower, there's something called a two-level filter you can use to help you avoid getting chopped out. You can take a trend line and you don't have to draw it. Remember, just as a lesson, it doesn't matter exactly how you draw this trend line. The
Yeah.
wick, the body, the whole idea of a trend line is to identify a trend, not a line. There's a general filter of price around this trend line. So you have the descending supply trend. That's level one filter. And your second filter is a lower high break. So if we observe here, the price is, we talked about levels, Dale. It's
Yes.
established this level. If it breaks this level, you can take a long.
Yeah.
Okay. So you
Yeah.
can capture some long. And if it does that, then we shall see, can it recapture 99K? Can it recapture 107.5K? And so we might get a right shoulder. So let's say we do. Let's say we have enough strength, right? And if we're getting the right shoulder, we'll see it come in with the two-level filter break. Let's say we get up to here and we reject. Okay, then we're in big, big, big trouble. But what if we do this? Which I'm going to go back to what we happened in 2021. Let's say we break out here above 107.5,
Yeah.
fail to hold, and then come back down.
I love false breakouts because it has everyone
Yes,
wrong-footed.
wrong-footed.
It
I mean, there's
happened at the bottom in WTI a couple weeks ago. We took out all the stops going back a couple years before it turned. It was classic. Okay, so see how we
mm,
cleaned out that level from 2025, just
mm-hmm,
barely, just enough to take
just
all.
enough.
And that was a
Yeah.
rally back to during the when we bombed the nuclear reactors in Iran up to
Mm,
78.
mm.
Looks good to me here. I'm long.
On
But
WTI?
but that
Yeah.
was a false breakdown.
Definitely a false breakdown. You make a great point. If you think about so like a Head and Shoulders, right? And
Yeah,
and I'll get back to my point, but you think about a Head and Shoulders, and you have the left shoulder, you have the head, and you have the right shoulder. And again, most volume in the left shoulder, a little bit less in the head, a little less in the right shoulder. There's two very important things to identify with this construction. The first is where does the level confirm? It's when you break down.
yeah,
Where does it invalidate? So one of my favorite long trades is a Head and Shoulders top that fails.
yeah,
You invalidate the right shoulder, right?
yep, yeah,
So if we get this right shoulder, Dale, I'm on watch for something that happened in 2021. So when we topped here in 2021, you can see the price started to establish a pretty important level at 46K. And
yeah,
we had this failed breakout here, which essentially at this point it was attempting to rejoin the larger trend.
right.
We had this failed breakout. When this happened back in April 2022, I said we're going to like sub 20K. This is we're up here. When this happened, I said, whoa, like, and I put out a tweet and I said, the run from 12K to 100K is going to be amazing. And people told me I was crazy. And we got pretty close. But this is just a failed rejoining of the larger trend. And so I'm on watch for something like that here, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
Um, but the thing is, you can have a general sense of where it's going, but it's really hard to zigzag it. There's nobody can tell you the texture, right? The exact texture of how it's you're gonna
And the
move. You just be
weaker
prepared. Yeah,
and the weaker the recovery counter
yeah,
trend, the more
mm-hmm.
bearish it is. So if we only
Absolutely.
like fibs, 30, if we could only retrace 38% or
Yeah,
halfway, then you start getting up to, 61.8 everyone plays, and
yeah,
it's a good fib to play. But you start
yes,
getting up to 78.6 and,
yeah. Well, you think about a bull flag, right? If you think about gradations of momentum, right?
yeah,
So you have a bull flag, and really the best performing is going to be something that consolidates like in the top third of the move,
yeah,
right? Because like a bull flag, a bull pennant, it should be a short pause and a continuation of the trend. But a lot of people see something like this and they say, hey, look, it's a bull flag, right? This is not a bull flag. This is way long in the tooth. It's
yeah,
gone on way too far, right? It should have broken out at some point.
yeah,
So that's your point here as well. Big bear move. If we only come back a little bit, boom, right? You
right,
got a pretty strong case for continued downward momentum.
right.
Um, it's one of those things where, Dale, when the price is up here, you see news, Michael Saylor, you see ETFs, you see all these things, and you're convinced it's going to 250K,
Right. Yeah.
and you just have to try to just ignore that and just focus on, failed breakout, focus on throwback, failed throwback, just focus on price versus key level, and you have to have some way to minimize the madness, out there, and try to just ignore the headlines as much as possible. I'm not smart enough to be a fundamental analyst. I'm terrible at fundamentals, and I just believe that everything is baked into the price, at least all public information.
Yeah, there's a
That's
lot of psychology too to it. You could be a great chartist, but
yeah,
it depends on your paradigm. For example,
yeah,
say people uh, were short and they made money,
yep,
but they got out early, like at 100, and it went to 80.
yes,
If it's right to be short at 90, they won't do it because they want to sell at a higher price than their last liquidation. That's all in your head. It's not
mm,
it's not the right way to approach a market. The market doesn't care where you got out. You do
mm,
the right thing, right? I mean, even if
yes,
you could buy at a higher level if you liquidated longs early.
mm-hmm.
And then do you believe that you have to probe a market and you could be wrong a couple times, but you have to be persistent that you say, well, that's it, I give up.
It's a
And
great
then you
question.
turn
Great.
your head and then
Hmm.
it happens.
I know. Well, that's so. What I always say is, um, it's okay to try a good trading idea. I'd say at least twice. Like if you get stopped out. Like what I say is if your trading idea is revalidated. So let's take, for example, the construction of a double bottom. You have a move down, you set a low, you set a peak, you set a low, and you set a peak. And you have what you need in classical charting. You have time interval between the bottoms, you have price distance between trough and peak, right? So you have a double bottom, but it hasn't confirmed yet. So here's our W. Okay. So let's say you take a breakout trade on like a 4 hour candle close. If it comes back below and you get stopped out, you can try again when it's revalidated. I like to say you should try it at least twice, but not
Mm.
maybe not more than that, because here's the thing. We talked about um, if a level's tested multiple times, it's important, okay? But let's look how important this level is, Dale. But let's say the
Yeah,
price starts to do this. Now it doesn't care about the level anymore. So guess what? I don't either. Right? So the more it starts, you know what I mean? You can have a
yeah,
level so well formed, but then it starts to get chopped through.
yeah.
Market is now disrespecting it. So do I. So I'm just really trying to be adaptive, but try the idea twice. And then you can move on and go to the next best idea.
Okay, well, I tell you what, I learned some things from you today, Cheds. And
Ah,
yeah, I did. No, I did. And
having fun.
I think that people that are looking for a mentor, I know you do it. He has plenty, Ched's has plenty of wisdom to share with you, probably enough pearls to string a necklace.
Hmm.
So, really, it was great to meet you and talk to you. And of course, I hope that 2026 is a great year for you, Cheds,
Oh, you
on
too.
more than just market levels, on in every way.
Hmm. You were very kind. I can tell that you love what you do. You're genuine. You're creating value, and I'm very warmed by your words, and I really appreciate it.
It was a pleasure meeting you, and let's talk again down the road.
You got it.
And really appreciate you taking time out of the trading day to be with us today. You know what happens to a person after they get through an interview with me?
We play chess.
You become my trading warrior brother.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Okay, you take it. So, everyone, my trading warrior brother Cheds, check him out on X. Go to his YouTube channel. Check out Bitcoin Live, I believe that's the name of it,
Yes, sir.
where he's also involved. And you're either growing or dying.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
here's a good plant to be grafted onto, and his name
Mhm.
is Cheds.
Thank you, man. And congratulations again on your story, brother.
All right, buddy. So that's a wrap, everyone. Remember, don't just count your pips, count your blessings. I'll see you tomorrow.